Hi, everybody. So the title of the study will be L2 Vocabulary Level, Vocabulary Profile of Exam Texts and Learner Performance, a case study of EAP reading. Vocabulary knowledge is widely recognized as a central component of second language reading comprehension. Research has constantly shown that learners must know a substantial proportion of the words in a text to achieve adequate comprehension, typically estimated at 95 or 98% coverage. Consequently, our vocabulary assessment is crucial for understanding learners' reading processes and for ensuring the validity of reading tests. The updated vocabulary level test, developed by Webb, Sasso, and Balance, is one of the most recent instruments designed to measure learners' receptive vocabulary size across frequency bands based on BNC and COCA word lists. By providing reliable measures of vocabulary knowledge at different frequency levels, the updated vocabulary level test enables researchers and practitioners to compare learners' lexical resources with the lexical demands of texts. So in the context of English for academic purposes, such alignment is especially important. Discrepancies between learners' vocabulary levels and lexical profiles of exam text may not only hinder comprehension, but also undermine the validity of assessment practices. While previous studies have highlighted the importance of vocabulary thresholds for reading comprehension, relatively few have examined the direct alignment between learners' vocabulary knowledge, the lexical composition of exam texts, and learners' actual test performance within preparatory class contexts especially. So this gap is significant because preparatory programs serve as a bridge to academic study where reading constitutes a primary channel for learning. If exam texts are not appropriately matched to learners' lexical competence, the results may reflect test difficulty rather than actual reading ability. Thus, investigating the interplay between vocabulary level, text profiles, and exam performance contributes both the theoretical understanding of L2 reading and to practical concerns of fair and valid assessment. So building on this background, the present study explores the learner's relationship. The present study explores the relationship between learners' receptive vocabulary level, the vocabulary profiles of B1 and B2 reading exam texts, and learners' reading exam performance in a preparatory EAP program. When we look at the participants of the study, we see English for academic purposes preparatory class learners, which were enrolled in the two undergraduate programs, English language teaching and English translation and interpreting. Let's talk about instruments and data analysis. The updated vocabulary level test measured the learner's receptive vocabulary. It was the first instrument used in the study. The vocabulary profile analysis evaluated 10 exam texts, 4 at the B1 level and 6 at the B2 level. The texts were analyzed according to the British National Corpus and Contemporary Corpus of American English frequency lists using the LexTeacher Vocab Profile Complete tool. A reading performance was measured through 2 midterm exams at B1 level and 2 midterm exams and 1 end-of-year exam at the B2 level. In this study, the learner's vocabulary level was compared with the vocabulary profile of the exam text based on their frequency levels, and the consistency between them was also measured. The results of the study indicated that firstly, let's look at the updated vocabulary level test results. And the results demonstrate learners' receptive vocabulary development between the first and second administrations. In the first administration, learners achieved an average of 25 out of 30 at B1 at 1,000 word level, with steadily lower means as subsequent levels like 17, 13, 12, and 10. In the second administration, learners' scores improved across all levels, most notably at 1,000 level and the 2,000 level. Substantial gains were also observed at 3,000 level and 4,000 levels, while performance at 5,000 level increased more modestly. These results indicate that students expanded their receptive vocabulary knowledge over time, with most consistent improvements occurring within high-frequency word bands, which are critical for reading comprehension. The vocabulary profile analysis of B1 exam texts showed that approximately 83 or 86 of the tokens come from the most frequent 1,000 word families. When the 2,000 word level is added, coverage rises to 91 and 93, and by including the 3,000 word level, the texts surpass 95% coverage threshold, which is generally considered necessary for adequate comprehension. So these findings suggest that a receptive vocabulary size about 3,000 word families is sufficient to understand the B1 level exam texts. The vocabulary profile analysis of B2 exam texts indicates that 79 or 80% of the tokens come from the most frequent 1,000 word families. Adding the 2,000 word level increases coverage to approximately 89 or 93%, while including 3,000 word level rises coverage above 95% threshold, which is generally considered the minimum requirement for adequate comprehension. Higher frequency bands contribute only small but noticeable increments. These findings suggest that learners need a receptive vocabulary knowledge of at least 3,000 or 4,000 words to comfortably comprehend B2 level exam texts. The analysis of exam performance shows variation between the B1 and B2 assessments. In the B1 stage, learners achieved mean scores of 47 and 42, indicating moderate performance with relatively wide score ranges. In contrast, during the B2 stage, average performance was slightly higher, 54, 52, and 50. These results suggest a general improvement in reading exam performance at the B2 level compared to B1, though considerable variation across learners remained evident. The learner level analysis revealed diverse developmental patterns in vocabulary knowledge and exam performance. For some learners, gains in vocabulary knowledge were accompanied by corresponding gains in exam performance, suggesting that vocabulary growth may directly support improved reading comprehension outcomes. However, other learners showed a mismatch between vocabulary development and exam results. For instance, one learner achieved a substantial vocabulary gain but experienced a decline in exam scores, indicating that vocabulary knowledge alone does not guarantee improved performance. Conversely, another learner's vocabulary size decreased while their exam performance improved, highlighting the role of factors beyond vocabulary knowledge, such as familiarity with the test format, effective use of compensatory reading strategies, or reduced test anxiety. So these findings underscore that learner profiles are heterogeneous, and vocabulary growth interacts with multiple cognitive and affective factors in shaping reading performance. The comparison of variables revealed weak or inconsistent correlations between vocabulary size and exam performance. For updated vocabulary level test 1 and the B1 level exam average, there was a slight positive trend, but the distribution was wide, indicating considerable individual variation. For updated vocabulary level 2 and the B2 exam average, no clear relationship emerged, with students scattered in different directions. When examining gains, the updated vocabulary level test gain versus exam gain plot showed that learners were distributed across all 4 quadrants. Those who improved in both vocabulary and exam performance, those who gained vocabulary but lost exam performance, those who lost vocabulary but improved in exams, and those who declined in both measures. These patterns clearly illustrate the divergence of learner profiles and highlight that vocabulary growth does not uniformly translate into improved exam performance. So this study compared 3 interrelated dimensions: learners' receptive vocabulary knowledge, the lexical demands of exam texts, and learners' reading exam performance. The updated vocabulary level test results demonstrated measurable vocabulary growth between the first and second administrations, while the vocabulary profiling of exam texts showed that B1 texts required knowledge of up to 3,000 word level for adequate comprehension, and B2 texts required knowledge of 3,000 and 4,000 word families. When examined alongside exam performance, the results revealed that vocabulary growth was generally associated with improved reading scores, although not consistently across all learners. In some cases, vocabulary gains did not translate into higher test performance, while other learners improved exam scores despite limited or negative vocabulary growth. So these findings highlight the complex interplay between lexical knowledge, text difficulty, and reading performance in L2 context. The findings of this study have several implications for L2 reading instruction and assessment. First, the results confirm that receptive vocabulary knowledge plays a decisive role in reading comprehension, yet individual learner profiles reveal that vocabulary growth alone does not always guarantee improved exam performance. This highlights the need for flexible and data-driven assessment practices that account for learner differences. In practice, exam designers should ensure that the lexical demands of reading texts are aligned with learners' vocabulary levels to support both validity and fairness. Moreover, instructional practices should integrate explicit vocabulary development with training and reading strategies to help learners effectively manage unfamiliar lexical items. Finally, the use of individualized and adaptive assessment tools is recommended, allowing educators to monitor learners' progress more accurately and to provide targeted support based on their specific needs. Thank you very much for your attention.